You're listening to Have You Ever Wondered? It is Friday, June 10th, 2022. I'm Chloe, and the title of today's episode is Debt Slave. If there's one thing that reminds you that you're definitely adult and you're definitely not a kid anymore, it's owing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to some faceless corporate entity. It's a situation that a lot of Americans are in, and although I'm not as certain of what the debt landscape looks like globally, I know that a lot of people find themselves in the same place that I found myself in, which is needing more money to conduct your life than you have access to, for whatever reason. You know, we've heard the stories, lived the stories. Maybe borrow money for school, buy a car, to buy a house, to buy clothes, to buy food. By the way, I haven't mentioned anything frivolous yet. But maybe it was something that was potentially deemed unnecessary, like a trip or an expensive item or a piece of equipment that you wanted or needed for work or a project. But somewhere along the way, when whoever helped raise you stopped paying for you, it becomes painfully clear, in stark relief, that the way we've ordered our society makes it routine for people to need more money than they have. It's a problem. I found myself in this situation not too long after I moved out on my own. And although people from the outside, I kind of think of like boomers, but I don't really like generational warfare. It's not productive because painting a certain group of people with broad strokes because of the year they were born is, insert negative adjective here, but like, people make it seem as though being in debt is always a character deficiency, like a lack of self-control, a lack of discipline, or just, overarching frivolity of some kind. But there are a lot of people in the world for whom the problem of debt stems from a lack of income. I was one of those people for a really long time. It's not like I was going out shopping every week. I don't even like clothes like that. No, I was trying to buy things I needed to survive. And yet I remember all those years feeling at certain points like I was never going to be in a situation where I didn't have a negative net worth, meaning what I owned was always going to be less than what I owed. And that feels hopeless. So if you can be described by the two very broad categories of both American and Christian, two words that can have dubious implications nowadays, you might know who Dave Ramsey is. In fact, you probably do know who he is. But even if neither of those words can be used to describe you, you may also know who he is. I've been aware of him for about 10 years at least, and actually maybe a little longer. And although there are things that he says that I do, capital do, not agree with, it can't really be disputed that he's an expert on personal finance. if you've listened to his show, his podcast, the YouTube videos, taken one of his classes, there's like a host of ways that you can interact with this guy's financial info. Then you probably know that he has this simple 7-step process that he says can take anyone from debt to wealth. So you're in debt, you have negative money when you are in the first step, and then when you get to the 7th step, you're rich. And it's not like a get rich quick thing. It takes like years. But he frequently has people on his show who have like gone through the process, paid off all the debt, thereby rescuing their net worth from the left side of the number line. After occasionally listening to the show, and then more recently, really watching a lot of the YouTube videos, which are quite interesting. In 2019, I felt like it was time to actually try to do something about the debt that I had been slowly and deliberately accumulating for years. Like, it was going up, and it was going up, and it was going up. It was only going down so that it could go back up. And like I said, I was not buying frivolous things. I was trying to survive. But I didn't want it to follow me around forever for multiple reasons, but also because there's this one verse in the Bible, which you may or may not ascribe to, that says, the borrower is slave to the lender. And I did not love that imagery, being a slave to anyone, for obvious reasons. But when I thought about it, I recognized that the feeling of working and working and working, and then at the end of all that, turning up with nothing, is exactly what being in massive debt feels like, which meant that the phrase has truth. You have no freedom when someone else owns your money. And I don't even like money. I don't like money. It causes a lot of trouble, and the way people think and feel about it and the way they treat it frequently impacts the way they think and feel about people and the way they treat them. And people are more important than money. I feel like I shouldn't even have to say that out loud. But something in our Western society seems to have lost that concept over time. Or maybe not over time. Maybe from the jump. And yet, you need it for things. You need it for food. You need it for rent. You need it for insurance and medicine. For $5 or $6 or more per gallon gas for your car. You need it for dishwasher detergent and trash bags and a new phone and clothes and formula and concert tickets. You need it to get your nails done and pay medical bills, your mortgage. You need it. I need it. We all need it. Unless we're planning on going back to the bartering system. But what I don't like is feeling like someone or something that I didn't authorize has control over my life. And those thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars hanging over my head, they were keeping me in a debt prison. I wanted out. It also felt like there were things on the horizon of my life that I was going to need a little more freedom, financial and otherwise, to step into properly. So after a lot of thought and a lot of prayer and a lot of going over my budget over and over again and writing down numbers and going on every website of every bank that I had an account at or where I had debt at and thinking some more and praying some more, I decided I was going to try to get rid of it. The debt shackles, or I should say them. I'll tell you what happened on one of next week's shows. It was not what I had originally expected. Hello, poetry time. Sometimes I view living under self-imposed adverse conditions like debt or maybe a bad habit, even addiction sometimes, like living with, what's that bird that puts its head in the sand? An ostrich? Living like that, or maybe like in a catatonic state where you're making movements through life, but you're not fully aware or awake or alive because you don't have total freedom. You don't have full access to the spectrum of your life as you could live it. And that idea is what made me choose this poem by Adam Zagajewski, which is called Wake Up. Wake up, my soul. I don't know where you are, where you're hiding. But wake up, please. We're still together. The road is still before us. A bright strip of dawn will be our star. I love that imagery. This week has felt exceptionally long. For you? Was that just me? Either way, congratulations on making it to the end of it. More well wishes today and tomorrow for people I know who are doing big things with their lives. It's a privilege to behold. Please have an amazing weekend. Please stay safe. Please find a way to do something that brings you joy. Please get some extra rest. I'll be back on Monday. Bye.